We now turn back to our preview of the legislative session. Representative Craig Hall is here to discuss some of the bills he is working on. Representative, welcome back to the show. Great to have you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet. Let's start with this DNA test versus privacy rights issue. It's going to be a big one. It's one you're taking up. It's an interesting one, but kind of set it up for us.
Sure.
What's the issue at play here with this bill?
So in the last couple of years, the Utah legislature has done a pretty good job of making sure that we protect individual privacy rights, especially in light of new technology. We have had this debate in our country for 200 years. When new technology comes about, law enforcement wants to use it to be able to catch the bad guys, and that's a good thing. But we also have to make sure that we protect the privacy of innocent individuals. So over the last couple of years, we have had a boom, especially in this state, of DNA testing.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yes, yes, with the genealogical research, and it has a lot of good. It's very good in order to do the genealogical research and find out more about your family.
Right.
So what my bill would do is prohibit the mass searching of these mass DNA databases. And we believe that's appropriate because it doesn't satisfy the particularity requirement of the Fourth Amendment. What the bill would not do is if law enforcement has probable cause to get a warrant and has a particular suspect in mind, then they can go ahead and get a warrant and do the DNA testing to confirm a match.
But what we've really been seeing play out here in some of the big cases is, let's take, for example, the Golden State Killer. It was a family member who put in their DNA through the test, and they were able to track that person through a family member. We actually saw a similar case here in the state of Utah where a woman was assaulted in an LDS church, and they were able to track down a suspect in the same manner. How would the bill tackle that specifically? Because that's kind of how we're getting through, is through family members.
Yeah, so one of the unique things about DNA is that, and people have argued, well, those individuals consent to having their DNA searched. And that is true, but the problem with DNA is that an individual can't consent for hundreds of their family members that may strenuously object to having their DNA searched. And so again, there are, and let me give a nod to our local companies such as Ancestry.com or 23andMe. They actually do a pretty good job of protecting their customers' privacy. What this would impact is the publicly available databases such as GEDmatch, which are online, and the bill would prohibit mass searches of hundreds of thousands or millions of individuals who have uploaded their DNA composition. And again, we believe that the mass searching violates the particularity requirement of the Fourth Amendment, and it's just a fishing expedition. When we don't have any idea who the suspect is, when we don't have any idea who the bad guys are, we're searching millions of individuals' DNA and violating that privacy. And again, we have had this debate over hundreds of years here in this country, and we don't tolerate a surveillance society just so that we can catch a couple of bad guys.
Let's hit on that a little bit more, though. One, as you mentioned, it's a good thing to catch bad guys. In these cases that I just said, for example, who's going to say, oh no, that guy's taken off the street? So some people look at it and say it's a good thing we can catch people in this way.
Sure.
What's your response to that?
So again, we don't tolerate a surveillance society in our country just to catch a couple of bad guys. It is good to catch some of the bad guys. That's a good thing, and we really appreciate the efforts of law enforcement. We have been in discussions with law enforcement regarding this bill. We've had good discussions, and we are cautiously optimistic that we can find some language that will protect individuals' privacy and be able to give the law enforcement the tools that they need.
So does it basically boil down to, if you want to search it, get a warrant?
Well,
not necessarily?
It would prohibit the searching of mass databases, especially if we don't have any idea who the suspects are. So again, we would, if DNA testing, if law enforcement wants to continue the DNA testing, then have a particular suspect in mind, and go ahead and get a warrant and do the testing, and that would still be allowed.
Okay, let's move on to another issue. We've all seen it. The school bus stopped on the road, stop signs out, children getting out of the bus, and drivers zooming by.
Right.
You want to take on that. Explain how.
Right. So the bill that I'm proposing would be to double the fines when an individual, when a vehicle passes a stopped school bus. So this is a huge problem in our state. Approximately a year ago, there was a big study that was done, and they actually witnessed over 900 violations of motorists going around parked or stopped school buses with the arm out and the red lights on. Even as many as over 50 in a single day. So we have hundreds of thousands of kids getting on and off the school buses every day. The requirement is to stop, and this is a good reminder for motorists to stop, not go around to the left, not go around to the right. These kids aren't watching. They're not paying attention very well.
And chances are they're going to come right out of the front of the bus walking across the street.
Right, right in a blind spot.
Yeah.
And so it is a very dangerous aspect of the transportation. It's really the most dangerous aspect of the transportation in a school bus is getting on and off. And so this is just a reminder that when you see a school bus stopping and the arm is out and the red lights are going, you need to stop. And I know it takes some time occasionally, and we need to have some patience, but this is really an important issue in our state, and it's violated every single day.
A child's life is not worth the extra 5 minutes you might gain from that. Or
that's right.
Not even that, probably.
It could be even 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's move on. I have about a minute left. Straight party voting, you're going to take that on. You want to eliminate it. Why?
Yeah, so this is certainly a trend throughout the United States. Straight party ticket is, voting straight party ticket is, at the top of your ballot you have the option to vote for all Republicans or all Democrats or all Libertarians or whatever party you want to vote for. So this bill would propose to eliminate that option. It doesn't eliminate the possibility of you going in and voting for all Republicans or all Democrats, but you would be required to vote candidate by candidate.
But why do you want to do that?
So, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I believe it leads to a more educated voter. So not all Democrats are the same, not all Republicans are the same, and you're actually voting for the individual to represent you in the legislature or Congress. And so this leads to a more educated voter. Again, this is the trend throughout the United States of eliminating the straight party ticket option. There are only 8 states that allow straight party ticket, and Utah is one of them, and hopefully we can eliminate that this upcoming session.
All right, we will be following those bills and much more. Thanks so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.